Welcome to Bible reading to help you sleep. You've been reading the book of Leviticus. It's been quite interesting to say the least, full of so many details. A lot of the rituals and traditions, I guess even dogmas, followed by our Jewish brothers and sisters. And other Sabbath observers. Very interesting, very interesting. So how are you this evening? How are you doing? There was a time, I think, not that I know there was a time in my life when I found it hard to walk away. I found it hard to walk away from an argument or a debate when it came to scripture or when it came to my faith, my beliefs. Then as I grew and I matured, I realized that God didn't need me to fight for Him. Jesus didn't need me to fight for Him. That I don't need to debate. I'm just called to follow. And to share the love and the forgiveness and the mercy and the compassion and the care that God has shown me with others. To make God tangible to others through good works, through random acts of kindness. And I understand that many in my faith background will say that good works don't save us, but that's not really why I do it. To me, it's just a byproduct of my salvation, or me being in the process of salvation. As I wrote in one of my books, we are not saved by our deeds, but our deeds are the evidence of our salvation. When a change occurs on the inside, it shows itself on the outside. As the heart becomes corrupt, as the heart hardens, as the heart becomes dark, it shows through evil acts, malicious acts, hateful acts. It shows on the outside. Likewise, when the heart begins to soften, when light comes into the heart, as the heart moves from being broken to being filled with joy, not necessarily happiness all the time, but joy. See, I've always been able because of external circumstances, achievements. People around you, and perhaps property or relationships. It comes and goes depending on what's happening externally. But joy is different. Joy is internal. Joy is bestowed upon us by God. For instance, for me, whether I'm sad or glad, joy is something I experience in basically knowing and believing that Jesus Christ is going to return for me someday. That I will be able to see those that I miss so profoundly again. And so, although I may find myself at times feeling sad, even within sadness, I can experience joy. That's how I can speak of it. What about you? Is there a difference for you between joy and happiness? Are you able to experience joy even in the midst of sadness? Or do you only experience joy when you are happy? You don't have to have an answer, but just something that we can reflect on, isn't it? So we're going to begin this evening with Leviticus chapter 21. And if this is your first time and you enjoy it, please consider subscribing to my channel and liking the video. Leave a comment and share it with others. If you've been here before, welcome back. Thank you. Thank you for your support and for tuning in. Why don't we begin with our breathing? The last time we got together, we did the the 4 and 8, which is that we inhale for 4 seconds and exhale for 8 seconds. Did you try it? Did it work for you? I hope so. There are many types of breathing exercises. You can look them up on YouTube. There's a lot of good ones. Some may not work for you, but you may find one that works, but there are a lot of different ones. I enjoy the Wim Hof method. I enjoy that a lot. Some people think it's a little too, perhaps a little too out there, but it can't be. I think it's not that easy at the beginning, but you do feel a difference once you get used to it. Pretty amazing person, Wim Hof. Look him up. W-I-M Hof, H-O-F. I believe it's just F-F. So why don't we go back to what I call the basics of life, and let's just lay back, close your eyes, relax, sit back, whatever makes you comfortable, and just focus on your breathing. And again, let's do the 4 and 8. 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out. Keep it slow, keep it circular. No pausing between inhalation and exhalation. In for 4 seconds. Out for 8. In for 4. Out for 8. In for 4. Out for 8. In for 4. Out for 8. Keep it going. You can do that for 2 or 3 minutes. It really is helpful. It helps anxiety as well. Let's begin. Leviticus chapter 21. The Lord said to Moses, "Give the following instructions to the priests, the descendants of Aaron. A priest must not make himself ceremonially unclean by touching the dead body of a relative. The only exceptions are his closest relatives, his mother, or father, son, or daughter, brother, or his virgin sister, who depends on him because she has no husband. But a priest must not defile himself and make himself unclean for someone who is related to him only by marriage. The priest must not shave their heads or trim their beards or cut their bodies. They must be set apart as holy to their God and must never bring shame on the name of God. They must be holy, for they are the ones who represent the special gifts to the Lord, gifts of food for their God. Priests may not marry a woman defiled by prostitution, and they may not marry a woman who is divorced from her husband, for the priests are set apart as holy to their God. You must treat them as holy because they offer up food to your God. You must consider them holy because I, the Lord, am holy, and I make you holy. If a priest's daughter defiles herself by becoming a prostitute, she also defiles her father's holiness, and she must be burned to death. The high priest has the highest rank of all the priests. The anointing oil has been poured on his head, and he has been ordained to wear the priestly garments. He must never leave his hair uncombed or tear his clothing. He must not defile himself by going near a dead body. He may not make himself ceremonially unclean, even for his father or mother. He must not defile the sanctuary of God by leaving it to attend to a dead person, for he has been made holy by the anointing oil of God, his God. I am the Lord. The high priest may marry only a virgin. He may not marry a widow, a woman who is divorced, or a woman who has defiled herself by prostitution. She must be Lord said to Moses, give the following instructions to Aaron and all future generations. Let me just make a marking here. I like to mark up my Bible in areas that kind of pop out so that I can do further research. Sometimes I use it to either add to my sermons, or I use them as the basis of a sermon as well. So, don't mind me. Then the Lord said to Moses, give the following instructions to Aaron. In all future generations, none of your descendants who has any defect will qualify to offer food to his God. No one who has a defect qualifies, whether he is blind, lame, disfigured, deformed, or has broken a foot or arm, or has hunched back, or dwarfed, or has a defective eye, or skin sores, or scabs, or damaged testicles. No descendant of Aaron who has a defect may approach the altar to present special gifts to the Lord. Since he has a defect, he may not approach the altar to offer food to his God. However, he may eat from the food offered to God, including the holy offerings and the most holy offerings. Yet because of his physical defect, he may not enter the room behind the inner curtain or approach the altar, for this would defile my holy places. I am the Lord who makes them holy. So Moses gave these instructions to Aaron and his sons and to all the Israelites. Leviticus chapter 22. The Lord said to Moses, tell Aaron and his sons to be very careful with the sacred gifts that the Israelites set apart for me, so they do not bring shame on my holy name. I am the Lord. Give them the following instructions. In all future generations, if any of your descendants is ceremonially unclean when he approaches the sacred offerings that the people of Israel consecrate to the Lord, he must be cut off from my presence. I am the Lord. If any of Aaron's descendants has a skin disease or any kind of discharge that makes him ceremonially unclean, he may not eat from the sacred offerings until he has been pronounced clean. He also becomes unclean by touching a corpse, or by having an emission of semen, or by touching a small animal that is unclean, or by touching someone who is ceremonially unclean for any reason. The man who is defiled in any of these ways will remain unclean until evening. He may not eat from the sacred offerings until he has bathed himself in water. When the sun goes down, he will be ceremonially clean again and may eat from the sacred offerings, for this is his food. He may not eat an animal that has died a natural death or has been torn apart by wild animals, for this would defile him. I am the Lord. The priests must follow my instructions carefully, otherwise they will be punished for their sin and will die for violating my instructions. I am the Lord who makes them holy. No one outside a priest's family may eat the sacred offerings. Even guests and hired workers in a priest's home are not allowed to eat them. However, if the priest buys a slave for himself, the slave may eat the sacred offerings. And if his slaves have children, they also may share his food. If a priest's daughter marries someone outside the priestly family, she may no longer eat the sacred offerings. But if she becomes a widow or is divorced and has no children to support her, and she returns to live in her father's home as in her youth, she may eat her father's food again. Otherwise, no one outside a priest's family may eat the sacred offerings. Any such person who eats the sacred offerings without realizing it must pay the priest for the amount eaten, plus an additional 20%. The priest must not let the Israelites defile the sacred offerings brought to the Lord by allowing unauthorized people to eat them. This would bring guilt upon them and require them to pay compensation. I am the Lord, who makes them holy. And the Lord said to Moses, give Aaron and his sons and all the Israelites these instructions, which apply both to native Israelites and to the foreigners living among you. If you present a gift as a burnt offering to the Lord, whether it is to fulfill a vow or is a voluntary offering, you will be accepted only. You will be accepted only if your offering is a male animal with no defects. It may be a bull, a ram, or a male goat. Do not present an animal with defects, because the Lord will not accept it on your behalf. If you present a peace offering to the Lord from the herd or the flock, whether it is to fulfill a vow or is a voluntary offering, you must offer a perfect animal. It may have no defect of any kind. You must not offer an animal that is blind, crippled, or injured, or that has a wart, a skin sore, or scabs. Such animals must never be offered on the altar as special gifts to the Lord. If a bull or lamb has a leg that is too long or too short, it may be offered as a voluntary offering, but it may not be offered to fulfill a vow. If an animal has damaged testicles or is castrated, you may not offer it to the Lord. You must never do this in your own land, and you must not accept such an animal from foreigners and then offer it as a sacrifice to your God. Such animals will not be accepted on your behalf, for they are mutilated or defective. And the Lord said to Moses, when a calf or lamb or goat is born, it must be left with its mother for 7 days. From the 8th day on, it will be acceptable as a special gift to the Lord. But you must not slaughter a mother animal and her offspring on the same day, whether from the herd or the flock. When you bring a thanksgiving offering to the Lord, sacrifice it properly so you will be accepted. Eat the entire sacrificial animal on the day it is presented. Do not leave any of it until the next morning. I am the Lord. You must faithfully keep all my commands by putting them into practice, for I am the Lord. Do not bring shame on my holy name, for I will display my holiness among the people of Israel. I am the Lord who makes you holy. It was I who rescued you from the land of Egypt, that I might be your God. I am the Lord. Leviticus chapter 23. The Lord said to Moses, give the following instructions to the people of Israel. These are the Lord's appointed festivals, which you are to proclaim as official days for holy assembly. You have 6 days each week for your ordinary work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath day of complete rest, an official day for holy assembly. It is the Lord's Sabbath day, and it must be observed wherever you live. In addition to the Sabbath, these are the Lord's appointed festivals, the official days for holy assembly that are to be celebrated at their proper times each year. The Lord's Passover begins at sundown on the 14th day of the month. On the next day, the 15th day of the month, you must begin celebrating the festival of unleavened bread. This festival to the Lord continues for 7 days. And during that time, Then the Lord said to Moses, "Give the following instructions to the people of Israel. When you enter the land I am giving you, and you harvest its first crops, bring the priest a bundle of grain from the first cutting of your grain harvest. On the day after the Sabbath, the priest will lift it up before the Lord, so it may be accepted on your behalf. On that same day you must sacrifice a 1-year-old male lamb with no defects as a burnt offering to the Lord. With it you must present a grain offering consisting of 4 quarts of choice flour moistened with olive oil. It will be a special gift, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. You must also offer 1 quart of wine as a liquid offering. Do not eat any bread or roasted grain or fresh kernels on that day until you bring this offering to your God. This is a permanent law for you, and it must be observed from generation to generation wherever you live. From the day after the Sabbath, the day you bring the bundle of grain to be lifted up as a special offering, count off 7 full weeks. Keep counting until the day after the 7th Sabbath, 50 days later. Then present an offering of new grain to the Lord from wherever you live. Bring 2 loaves of bread to be lifted up before the Lord as a special offering. Make these loaves from 4 quarts of choice flour and bake them with yeast. They will be an offering to the Lord from the first of your crops. Along with the bread, present 7 1-year-old male lambs with no defects, 1 young bull, and 2 rams as burnt offerings to the Lord. These burnt offerings, together with the grain offerings and liquid offerings, will be a special gift, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. Then you must offer 1 male goat as a sin offering, and 2 1-year-old male lambs as a peace offering. The priest will lift up the 2 lambs as a special offering to the Lord, together with the loaves representing the first of your crops. These offerings, which are holy to the Lord, belong to the priests. That same day will be proclaimed an official day for holy assembly, a day on which you do no ordinary work. This is a permanent law for you. It must be observed from generation to generation wherever you live. When you harvest the crops of your land, do not harvest the grain along the edges of your fields, and do not pick up what the harvesters drop. Leave it for the poor and the foreigners living among you. I am the Lord your God. The Lord said to Moses, "Give the following instructions to the people of Israel. On the first day of the appointed month in early autumn, you are to observe a day of complete rest. It will be an official day for holy assembly, a day commemorated with loud blasts of trumpet. You must do no ordinary work on that day. Instead, you are to present special gifts to the Lord." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Be careful to celebrate the Day of Atonement on the 10th day of that same month, 9 days after the Festival of Trumpets. You must observe it as an official day for holy assembly, a day to deny yourselves and present special gifts to the Lord. Do no work during that entire day, because it is the Day of Atonement, when offerings of purification are made for you, making you right with the Lord your God. All who do not deny themselves that day will be cut off from God's people, and I will destroy anyone among you who does any work on that day. You must not do any work at all. This is a permanent law for you, and it must be observed from generation to generation wherever you live. This will be a Sabbath day of complete rest for you, and on that day you must deny yourselves. This day of rest will begin at sundown on the 9th day of the month and extend until sundown on the 10th day. And the Lord said to Moses, give the following instructions to the people of Israel. Begin celebrating the festival of shelters on the 15th day of the appointed month, 5 days after the Day of Atonement. This festival to the Lord will last for 7 days. On the first day of the festival, you must proclaim an official day for Holy Assembly when you do no ordinary work. For 7 days you must present special gifts to the Lord. The 8th day is another holy day on which you present your special gifts to the Lord. This will be a solemn occasion, and no ordinary work may be done that day. These are the Lord's appointed festivals. Celebrate them each year as official days of Holy Assembly by presenting special gifts to the Lord: burnt offerings, grain offerings, sacrifices, and liquid offerings, each on its proper day. All these festivals must be observed in addition to the Lord's regular Sabbath days, and the offerings are in addition to your personal gifts. The offerings you give to fulfill your vows and the voluntary offerings you present to the Lord. Remember that this 7-day festival to the Lord, the Festival of Shelters, begins on the 15th day of the appointed month, after you have harvested all the produce of the land. The first day and the 8th day of the festival will be days of complete rest. On the first day, gather branches from magnificent trees, palm fronds, boughs from leafy trees, and willows that grow by the streams. Then celebrate with joy before the Lord your God. For 7 days you must observe this festival to the Lord for 7 days every year. This is a permanent law for you, and it must be observed in the appointed month from generation to generation. For 7 days you must live outside in little shelters. All native-born Israelites must live in shelters. This will remind each new generation of Israelites that I made their ancestors live in shelters when I rescued them from the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. So Moses gave the Israelites these instructions regarding the annual festivals of the Lord. That was wonderful, wasn't it? Again, filled with a lot of details and a lot of these commands are commands that are still followed, like I said earlier, by our brothers and sisters, our Jewish brothers and sisters, and by Sabbath observers as well. I really enjoyed that. Very interesting, the timing and the details. Not easy to follow, is it? Not easy to follow at all. I commend those who can follow these commands and have made them traditions and rituals for generations and generations. So that is about it for this evening. When we get back together, we will continue with Leviticus chapter 24. And let me just check. Here we are. I think we're almost done. Yes. We are almost done with Leviticus. Yep, Leviticus goes only to chapter 27, so we're probably going to be done with Leviticus the next time we meet. That was fast, wasn't it? someone who left a comment that they would really love to hear the Book of Revelations. The Book of Revelations. Another book that was magnificently written. So, I'm going to pray about it. And why don't you let me know on your in the comments area. What do you think about that? If once we're done with Leviticus, we're not done with the Pentateuch, but we can end with Leviticus, go into Revelations, and then come back and finish the Pentateuch. And interestingly enough, once we're done with the Pentateuch, we're done with the Old Testament, and so we will begin the New Testament. So what do you think about that? Let me know in the comment section. What do you think about that? If you feel that you want to just continue on to the book of Numbers, which comes after that. If you feel that you just want to keep on and finish up the Pentateuch, let me know as well. Let me know as well. Your voice matters. Your voice matters to me. In the meantime, I'll continue to pray. Please pray for me. And please leave your prayer requests. And I will always continue to pray for you. And if not, of course, I do a general prayer for all my subscribers, all subscribers to my channel. I do a prayer and include them in my prayer, in my daily prayers. So that's about it for this evening. With that said, I hope this helped. God bless you. God keep you. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.